Hello and welcome to WION for this special broadcast. I have with me a very special guest, Mr. Abul Hassan Mahmood Ali, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Bangladesh, to talk about bilateral, regional, and global issues of interest and concern alike to both Bangladesh and India. Minister Ali, thank you for making time to speak to WION. I want to begin by asking about your talks here in New Delhi with Minister Sushma Swaraj. What did you discuss with her? How did that go?
Well, I came here for the dialogue meeting basically, and then I called on my Didi Sushma ji at the Ministry of External Affairs. We talked about the current state of relations, which have reached the highest level so far in our relations between Bangladesh and India. We are absolutely happy on both sides. So we reviewed a little bit, but there is nothing in particular about the, as you know, the Rohingya refugees who have come in very large numbers since the end of 2016. So we have been trying to negotiate an agreement with the Myanmar government, which we did at the end of November last year, for the repatriation of these people. And India has given us support, very strong support. And when I went to Naypyidaw, the capital of Myanmar, to negotiate the agreement, so I also, after the signing of the agreement, I saw Ms. Suchi, the state councillor of Myanmar government, and I made a request that to the effect that the refugees, their villages were burned down by the military in Myanmar, and so when the time comes for sending them back, where do they go back to? Right. I mean, you need a house to stay, so nothing is there. The entire villages have been leveled out by bulldozers. So in this situation, we thought about requesting Myanmar so that they can approach India and China both to build prefabricated houses in those villages. So Ms. Suchi agreed with that, and she said that they will be approaching India in this case. So I inquired from Sushma ji about the progress on that matter, and she told me we already knew that the Indian Foreign Secretary, during his visit, he signed a memorandum of understanding with the Myanmar government. So we are delighted with that. We are very happy. So I told her that maybe the time has come now to actually build these houses in the Rakhine state. Especially, I told her that perhaps your people, Indian concerned authorities, could start with building the houses in the more well-known areas in the towns and villages near the town, like I mentioned one name, Mongdo Township. So, I was very happy with her reply, and she assured me that India is with us and will be with us.
Minister, you refer to the Rohingya issue. It's a very burning issue. Now, how is Bangladesh coping with this crisis? There are at least 1 million Rohingya refugees living in Bangladesh as we speak.
There are total Rohingya population inside Myanmar was about say 1.5 million. So out of which when the problem started in 2016, end of 2016, and the current problem, it has been there for a long time, this problem. So out of those, about 700,000 people have come in till say beginning of this year. So before this exodus, there were already about say little more than 400,000 in some in camps, some outside, documented, undocumented in Bangladesh. So you can say that little over 1 million are in Bangladesh right now. Well, thanks to the help from our friends like India, India has given the largest amount of relief assistance to Bangladesh by plane, by ship, and that is being used. And also the entire international community, the whole world is with us on this particular issue. And we have been coping from our own resources what to do, because this is something that we have to face. And our leader, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, who is the daughter of the father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, well, she could not really do anything else but to help these people, stand beside them. So she allowed them to come in and gave them shelter, food, healthcare, and everything. So now the international community has also come forward, and the UN agencies, the various agencies of the UN, UN High Commission for Refugees, the International Committee of the Red Cross, the International Organization for Migration, which is also become a UN agency now, World Food Program, UNICEF, you name it, everybody is there. So in addition, the French NGO, the Médecins Sans Frontières, they are also helping in the health sector, in addition to UNICEF and others. There are other agencies. The Turkish government has come forward, Malaysia, Indonesia, everybody is there. So this is how we are coping with it. And what can you do? I mean, we can't throw them out. So now that we have finalized the agreement, and actually the 2 days ago the physical arrangement has also been finalized. It has been put down on paper, and we are hoping that let's see, what we'd like to do now. We are coming to actual process of repatriation. So maybe we'll start. We have already started preparing the list of families, so that when we send them back, they have to be sent by families, not as individuals. So this is what is being done right now. So we are hoping that things will start very soon, maybe by the end of this month, as soon as possible.
Indeed.
Yeah.
On the whole, Minister, if you look at India's role, are you satisfied with India's role so far?
We are satisfied, because I mean, this is something that every country has to find its own position. So depending on various factors. So India had its own. I think they have India has a long border with Myanmar, and it has its own relations to remember, so or deal with Myanmar. So therefore, but overall we are happy with the way that it has turned out from the Indian side. So there is no problem at all.
Minister, how would you describe Bangladesh-India relations as they exist today in terms of defense, security, trade, people-to-people ties?
This is the best of relations that we have come to, and this is even crossed all our expectations, that it has come to such a stage. And in fact, this is what we have been we have been trying for. And on both sides, especially after the coming into power of the present government in India, led by Prime Minister Modi, there have been changes, almost like on a continuous basis, and things are moving rapidly. We have seen remarkable changes on both sides, and from our side, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has given all-out support, and in fact, on the question of security and so on, and connectivity you mentioned. Connectivity, we thought what Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina thinks is connectivity is not just physical means of transport like rail, road, air link, but it is a linking of ideas and thought processes. It is in the mind also. So therefore, we are very happy that in all these sectors, in education, in training, in investment, we have designated 2 special economic zones for Indian investors. They are coming, but there has to be more. So what we are telling our Indian friends that we have these special areas, and there will be benefits for you. So to come here and do invest in Bangladesh, and that is how the relationship, two-way relationship will be further expanded, further strengthened, and this will also contribute to people-to-people contacts. The last year in I think 2016, if you take the geographical year, the calendar year, the number of visitors from Bangladesh, that was the highest in terms of a single country, from a single country to India. So therefore, this is something that we always wanted. That's how the relationship between the two neighbors who fought together for the freedom of Bangladesh. Your people, your soldiers, your officers, they and the entire population of India, they supported our liberation war. And 10 million, they gave shelter to 10 million of our refugees in India, in various states surrounding Bangladesh. So therefore, and we, our people, our freedom fighters, and your people on the Indian side fought together, shoulder to shoulder, and laid down their lives. And the blood of the two fighters, two sets of fighters on either side of the border, mingled together in our great liberation war. So therefore, we are together in this, and our past, present, future are linked, as Prime Minister Modi said, that our future is linked, our present is linked together. So we must move forward together. He used a term when he visited Dhaka at his public meeting, that Saath Saath Paas Paas, that Paas Paas Saath Saath, that we are side by side, and then we are together, we are moving forward. So this is what we are observing. So we are happy.
But Minister, there is one outstanding issue, and that's the Teesta river waters sharing issue. How hopeful are you of an early resolution of the Teesta issue?
Well, this has now become a, between Bangladesh, India, everything was ready for signing. But as luck would have it, it was not signed. And after Mr. Modi came to power, so he has told us that it will be signed during the current tenures of the two prime ministers, Mr. Modi on Indian side and Sheikh Hasina on Bangladesh side. So we are we are hopeful that this will be done. Let's see. Now this has become a problem between the Indian government on the one side and Indian states. So we are, we are waiting.
Right, and there's another common challenge confronting both nations, in Bangladesh and India, that's terrorism. Now, Bangladesh is as much a victim of terrorism as any other country around the world. How do you see India-Bangladesh security cooperation evolving over years?
Well, I think the situation on the ground speaks for itself. Bangladesh, under Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, has given, the proof of her policy on the ground, that she is pursuing a policy of zero tolerance for against terrorism in any form and manifestation. So after the present government in India came to power in 2014, we have seen that the cooperation has been really blossoming, and it has become so strong now that we have three-tiered cooperation at the ministerial level, at the secretary level, at the joint secretary level. The two border guards are cooperating. We have cooperation between the navies, the coast guard, the defense cooperation in general is getting stronger and stronger. So we have the as you know that in Bangladesh the first nuclear power plant is the work is going on. It is coming up gradually, and this is a Russian aided project. And since India has had a number of nuclear power plants from Russia, so we are going to train our engineers and technicians, scientists also in India. So therefore, it's much easier for our people to have the training here because of the language and other things, because of the understanding similar approaches, similar mindsets and so on. So all these things are gaining ground, and we have these new ideas have come in our relations, like the institution of border hearts. These are the weekly markets. I mean, who could have thought that there will be border markets, border hearts functioning? Now there is demand for more at the border areas of our two countries. People are they liked it so much that everybody wants a border hut in their border. So these things are really opening up the vistas of our friendship, broadening. And there is another thing that on both sides there is tremendous amount of I think expectation which is going up all the time. That we have seen the changes in the operation of the trains, Maitri Express from Dhaka to Calcutta. So now we have recently the two prime ministers have introduced this just at one end the customs and immigration the facilities or the checkings that will be done at one end. That from when you start from Dhaka, your checking is done in Dhaka and that's it. Then you go into Calcutta, you go straight out from the train, you get out from the train. So similarly from Calcutta to Dhaka, we have now started the Bandhan Express from Khulna to Calcutta. Now the thing is that all the historic connections which were there built during the British period between present Bangladesh and the various states of India. So these are being restored, and they were operational till the India-Pakistan war in September 1965. After that, the Pakistan government, they stopped, shut off all these accesses between Bangladesh and various states of India. So we have started the work to restore all these links, and then we are establishing new links as well. So I think overall, I think things are well in hand, and we are moving forward and upward.
You spoke about connectivity between Bangladesh and India, but Prime Minister Modi himself and India in general speak about connectivity in the regional context within Saarc and within Bimstec. Now, how are those projects coming along? For instance, the BBIN corridor project. Where do you think it is stuck at the moment as we speak?
BBIN, you see, Bhutan is a small country. Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Nepal. Now, on the question of this motor vehicles agreement, Bhutan has a particular problem because of the small size of population. So we have to appreciate that. If there is any special difficulty, we have to understand that, and we have to take steps to come to terms with that, to respond to that. So this is what we are doing, but between the three of us, Bangladesh, India and Nepal, I think we are going ahead. And but there are other areas where the BBIN concept is taking hold, and there are almost limitless possibilities. For example, in respect of generation of hydroelectric power. So both Bhutan and Nepal, both of them have tremendous possibilities. So, in fact, Bangladesh has already made an offer to Bhutan and India for a trilateral agreement, so that Bangladesh is now willing. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has already made the offer that Bangladesh should make an investment of $1 billion US for a particular hydel project. The place has been also selected. During my bilateral visit to Bhutan, I had visited that place also. So, we are looking forward to this. So, let's see. I think things are moving ahead in right earnest.
In conclusion, Minister, when we talk about Saarc, now Saarc seems to be in a limbo. How can the countries in the region revive that process when India is especially looking at Bimstec as an alternative?
Well, I had thought that you will not ask the difficult question. Now the problem is that, as they say, you may take a horse to the water, but it may not drink it. So that's why we are now concentrating our energies on Bimstec, Bangladesh, India, Myanmar, Thailand, Sri Lanka, for economic cooperation. So we are moving ahead. We are ready to give a big push to the Bimstec process, and then we have other groupings as well, like BCIM. So therefore, in fact, the Bimstec is even better, because then we can bring in Myanmar and up to Thailand, so which will be good, and that will also act as a link with ASEAN. So let's see.
On that note, Mr. Ali, thank you for speaking to WAYON. Appreciate it. Thank you once again. Thank you for your time.
Most welcome.
Thank you.